How do you say that someone forced or made you do something? If you want to find out and more, then keep on watching. 皆さん、こんにちは。元気ですか? Welcome back to NihonGoal. I hope you're doing well. Before we begin, make sure to check out the vocabulary list for this lesson. If you like this video, make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. If you want to support this channel even more, please consider becoming my Patreon through my Patreon page where you can get the lesson PDF, practice questions, and also review flashcards for the vocabulary list. はい、準備できたら始めましょう。Here are the grammar points for today's lesson. Our first grammar pattern is the 何々ということだ. This is used to report or quote what exactly someone has said. But before that, let's check out some of the related grammar patterns that we've learned so far. The first one is from lesson 47, which is the sentence in plain form, followed by そうだ. This means I hear that 何々. For example, Vincento さん or Vincento は明日京都へ行くそうだ. Meaning, I heard that Vincent is going to Kyoto tomorrow. So you are just reporting what you've heard. Another related grammar pattern that we've learned is from lesson 2, which is 何々というのは何々ということだ, which is used to explain the meaning of a noun. For example, 禁煙というのはタバコを吸ってはいけないということです. Meaning, 禁煙 means smoking is prohibited, or you must not smoke here. So, what is different with this pattern? Here, we are going to use the full sentence. So, we have the sentence in plain form followed by ということだ. So, we are quoting or reporting exactly what has been said. First example, Mr. Zen phoned. He said that he would be a little late for the appointment. So here, we are going to say the exact message of Mr. Zen. So we say, ゼンさんから電話があったのですが. So Mr. Zen phoned, and we are quoting what he said. 約束の時間に少し遅れます. He would be a little late for the appointment. So we are going to quote this by changing it into plain form. So it becomes 約束の時間に少し遅れる. 遅れます becomes 遅れる plus ということです。ゼンさんから電話があったのですが、約束の時間に少し遅れるということです。Next example, according to the bystanders, the load suddenly fell off the truck. So the information is based from what the bystanders say. So here we can say, 近くにいた人の話によると, or 近くにいた人によると. So よると means according. And what they said is that トラックから荷物が急に落ちました. So we change this to plain form. So it becomes トラックから荷物が急に落ちた. So 落ちました becomes 落ちた plus ということだ or ということです。近くにいた人の話によると、トラックから荷物が急に落ちたということだ。So when it comes to written language, ということだ can become とのことです。So, you becomes のとのことです。For example, in a written letter, someone might say, I saw Mr. Rainier the other day. He asked me to give you his regards. 先日、レーナーさんに会いました.
So I met or I saw Mr. Rainier the other day. He said, レイナーさんから先生によろしく. So here is the exact message. So we just simply add とのことです。レイナーさんから先生によろしくとのことです。Now, we can just add ね at the end to confirm what someone has just said or to repeat the information. For example, please tell Mr. Sharif that I'll be about 30 minutes late. シャリフさんに30分ほど遅れると伝えてください。The other person might say, yes, I understand. You'll be about 30 minutes late, right? So here, we are just adding the word right or ね to confirm the information. はい、わかりました。Yes, I understand. You'll be about 30 minutes late. 30分ほど遅れます。So we change it to plain form. 30分ほど遅れるということですね。So again, we just add ね to confirm the information.
Okay, so now it's time for you to practice this pattern. For example, you receive a phone call from a client or customer, and the client said, すみません。私、シェティなんですが、そちらへ行くことになったとお伝えてください。この場合は部長に何を言いますか？ Our second grammar pattern is 何々の or 何々の in question form. If you remember from lesson 26, we've learned the pattern 何々のです or んです, which is a way of giving reasons. And also the question form, which is 何々のですか? So when you want to ask the reason. So if you want to say this in casual way, we can just say 何々の or 何々の with the rising intonation to ask the question. Just keep in mind that ending a sentence with a no make the sentence sound more childish or feminine. So let's take a look at some examples.
For example, where are you going? どこへ行きますか is how we say it normally. But if we say it in a plain form, we can say どこへ行くの? So 行きます becomes plain form plus no. どこへ行くの? I'll just go out for a while. ちょっと出かける。ちょっと出かける。Another example. You look a bit down. What's up? 元気がないね。どうした? Mom scolded me. Or because mom scolded me. お母さんに叱られました。So here we change this to plain form. お母さんに叱られたの。Okay, 叱られました becomes 叱られた plus no to imply that this is the reason. Next example. Are you gonna take the Japanese proficiency test this year? So we are asking a question. 今年日本語能力試験を受けますか? So it becomes 今年日本語能力試験を受けるの? And another example. Why are you crying? どうして泣いていますか? So 泣いています becomes どうして泣いているの? So が becomes no. どうして泣いているの? When I got home, I couldn't find my dog anywhere. So here we are giving the reason. 家に帰ったら犬がどこにもいませんでした becomes 犬がどこにもいなかったの because I couldn't find my dog anywhere.
Our third grammar patterns are 何々ちゃう, toku, and teru. First, let's focus on 何々ちゃう or 何々ちゃいます. So if you remember, we've learned about the grammar pattern 何々しまう or 何々しまいます from lesson 29, which means that we've completed something or we've done something accidentally and we feel regret. So, ciao is just the casual way of saying しまいます.
So how do we use this pattern? So here we have the verb in てしまう or てしまいます form. So we have to remove the part てしまう and then replace that with ちゃう or ちゃいます, じゃう or じゃいます if the last syllable is I will show you later. And if it's in past form, like しまいました, it becomes ちゃった or ちゃいました or じゃった or じゃいました. For example, the verb 食べる to eat. 食べてしまう to finish eating. It becomes 食べちゃう. So we remove てしまう, replace it with ちゃう. In a plain form. If it's in polite form, we can say 食べちゃいます will finish eating, or I regret eating it all. So depending on the context. Another example is the verb やる to do. やってしまった to complete doing something. So we remove てしまった, replace it with ちゃった、やっちゃった or やっちゃいました. Have done or have finished doing something. Last example is 読む to read. So if we want to say we've finished reading something, 読んでしまった. So like I said, if the last syllable ends in like this, 読ん, so we use じゃった or じゃう. Here it's in past tense, so we say 読んじゃった or 読んじゃいました, meaning finished reading. For example, I ate all the cake that Caress gave me. So all implies that we finished eating the cake. So we can say, Caress さんがくれたケーキは, so the cake that Caress gave me, 全部 all, so the verb is ate. 食べてしまいました to finish eating it all, or it could also mean that we regret eating it all. So we changed it to ちゃう form. So it becomes 食べちゃった。カレスさんがくれたケーキは全部食べちゃった。Another example. Have you finished your homework already? 宿題はもう。So the verb is finish. やってしまいましたか? Or have you done your homework already? So it becomes やっちゃいましたか? So in question form. 宿題はもうやっちゃいましたか? Or in a much casual way is やっちゃった? Or やっちゃったの? Another example. This book was interesting. I finished reading it. この本は面白かった. The verb is to finish reading. 全部読んでしまった. So it becomes 全部読んじゃった or 読んじゃいました。この本は面白かった。全部読んじゃった。
The next one is 何々解く or 解きます。So if you remember from lesson 30, we've learned about 何々ておく or ておきます, meaning to do something beforehand or in advance to prepare for something. 解く or 解きます is just the casual form of ておく or ておきます.
So for this pattern, we have the verb in ておく forms or ておきます. So it's just the same as the previous one. We remove ておくand then we replace that by 解く or 解きます. For example, the verb to write, 書く. So we say 書いておく normally, right? So we remove ておく, we replace it with 解く, 書いとく or 書いときます. To write beforehand. Next example is 作る to make. So 作っておく becomes 作っとく. So remove ておく, 作っとく or 作っときます to make something in advance. Next example, つける or to turn on. つけておく becomes つけとく or つけときます to turn something on in advance. For example, I will prepare the lesson before the class. 授業の前に prepare the lesson is 予習しておきます。So we change it to 予習しときます。予習しときます。授業の前に予習しときます。Next example. Please clean the room before father comes. お父さん来る前に部屋を、so clean is 掃除しておいてください。So please clean the room becomes, so 掃除し、so we remove ておいて。So we change it to といて。掃除しといてください。Please clean the room in advance. 掃除しといてください。お父さん来る前に部屋を掃除しといてください。Next example, shall I turn up the AC? Na leave it on or just to keep something on. So, 何々ておきます could also mean to leave something as is. エアコン消そうか Shall I turn off the AC? そのままつけておいて、そのまま means as is, つけておいて to leave something on as is. So we say, no, そのままつけといて just leave it on. エアコン消そうかそのままつけといて. And last example, shall I make something for dinner? Yeah, make some curry. 晩ご飯何か作っとこうか So shall I becomes 作っとこうか So we answer 作っておいて彼を作っといて So 作っておいて becomes 作っといて Again, 晩ご飯何か作っとこうか彼を作っといて
And lastly is the nani nani teru. So this is the casual or the conversational style of the nani nani te iru. So basically, you just remove the i syllable. For example, the verb to run, hashiru. So hashitte iru becomes hashitteru. Another example is to read, yomu. Yondeiru, reading, becomes yonderu. And another example is miteinai, not to look or not looking. We can say mitenai. So we remove the i syllable in all these verbs. So let's take a look at some example sentences.
For example, the children are running outside. 子供たちは外で走っている becomes 走ってる。子供たちは外で走ってる。Another example. Did you take the medicine this morning? No, I haven't taken it yet. 朝の薬飲んだ？まだ。So, 飲んでいない becomes 飲んでない。朝の薬飲んだ？まだ飲んでない。What are you doing? I'm reading a book. So, what are you doing? 何やっているの? So again, these people are talking in plain form. So this becomes 何やってるの? 何やってるの? I'm reading a book. 本を読んでいるよ。本を読んでいるよ。本を読んでるよ。本を読んでるよ。Again, 何やってるの? 本を読んでるよ。
Now it's time for our main grammar point for this lesson, which is the causative passive form, or the nani nani saserareru or sareru. So the causative passive form is used to express that someone made you or forced you to do something. So this is the combination of the passive form and the causative form. So in lesson 37, we've learned about the passive form, meaning that something has been done to someone. So the verb usually ends in raremas. For example, the verb to praise, homemasu. To be praised is homeraremas. For example, 私は先生に褒められました。I was praised by my teacher. Next is the causative verb, which we've learned from lesson 48, meaning to make or let someone do something. For example, the verb 食べます to eat. To say that you make or let someone eat, we say 食べさせます. So the verb ends in させます. For example, 私は子供に毎日野菜を食べさせます. I make my child eat vegetables every day. So now we are going to combine the two. We have causative passive form. So how do we form the causative passive form? So we have different ways depending on the type of the verb. If it's in group 1, we have the verb in nai form. We remove nai and we replace that with せられる or せられます or される. For group 2 verbs, we also use the verb in nai form. So we also remove the nai part and then replace it with させられます or させられる. And lastly, for group 3 verbs, which are する and 来る, do and come, for する, we just simply change it to させられる. And for 来る, we change it to 来させられる. Okay, for example, the verb to drink. 飲む. So we change it to nai form. 飲まない. We remove nai, so we say 飲ませられる or 飲まされる, meaning to be made or forced to drink. Another example is the verb 食べる, to eat. So we change it to nai form. 食べない. We remove nai and then we add させられる. 食べさせられる, meaning to be made or to be forced to eat. And last example is from group 3 verb, which is する. So for example, 勉強する. So we just change する to させられる. So 勉強する becomes 勉強させられる, meaning to be forced or to be made to study.
So first is a combination of causative, to make someone do something, and passive, something done to someone. So for example, in my English class, I'm often made to read an English sentence out loud by my teacher. So first, let's take a look at the normal sentence, just the plain sentence. 私は英語の授業でよく英文を大きい声で読みます. So it just means in my English class, I often read English texts out loud. So here, 私は is the subject. Okay, the doer of the action. So now, if it's causative, meaning someone is making someone else do something. For example, 先生は英語の授業で私によく英文を大きい声で読ませます. So, it means in my English class, the teacher often made me read an English sentence out loud. So here the subject is the teacher and the one being told to do something is you. So now for causative passive form, the subject is the doer. In this case, 私は. 私は英語の授業で先生に by the teacher. So, よく英文を大きい声で and then the verb read, which is, so from 読まない nai form, we remove ない 読ま plus せられる 読ませられる. So, I was made to read by the teacher. We can also say 読まされる. So instead of せら, we change it to just さ. 読まされる. Okay? So this is more often used compared to this one. So in daily conversation, you would often hear the sareru pattern for group 1 verb. Again, here the subject is watashi. Watashi wa eigo no jugyou de. So the person being forced to do something is the subject. 私は英語の授業で先生によく英文を大きい声で読ませられる or 読まされる。Another example. My little brother was made to go to bed by my mother because it was already 11 p.m. So normally, in this normal sentence, my little brother went to bed because it was already 11 p.m. もう午後11時だから弟は寝ました。So here the subject is my little brother, the doer of the action. Next is causative. So someone else is making the little brother do the action, which is, in this case, my mother. So in this sentence, mother is the subject. My mother made my little brother go to bed because it was already 11 p.m. もう午後11時だから、お母さんは弟に寝させました。Okay? So, notice that wa is attached to mother and ni is attached to the little brother. Now, if it's causative passive, もう午後11時だから because it's already 11 p.m. 弟は so 弟 again becomes the subject, the one being forced to do the action. お母さんに by the mother 寝させられました。So this is in group 2, 寝ます。So we just remove ない、ね、ない、so ね。And then we add させられ and then past form ました。寝させられました was made to go to bed. Another example. You have a cold? Yeah, we were made to practice in the rain by the senior team members. So normally, 風？私たちは雨の中で練習したんです。You have a cold? Yeah, cause we practiced in the rain. So we just have we as the subject and the doer of the action. So if it's causative, so the senior members made us practice in the rain. 風？先輩たちは私たちに雨の中で練習させたんです。Now, if it's causative passive, so again, 風？the subject is 私たちは先輩たちに by the 先輩 or by the senior members 雨の中で練習 so if it's in group 3, する becomes させられる or in this case, past form 練習させられたんです so we use です to give reason because the senior members made us practice in the rain. Again, 私たちは先輩たちに雨の中で練習させられたんです。So sometimes the person making someone do the action is not specified, but still the person is not willing to do or it's not their own decision. For example, I still wanted to have a few more drinks, but I was forced to go home. We don't know by whom, but someone forced that person to go home. So here we say, まだいっぱい飲みたかったのに. So even though I still wanted to drink more, so here we don't have by someone. So we just go straight to the verb go home or forced to go home. 帰ら。So 帰らない becomes 帰ら plus せられ ました because it's in past form. 帰らせられました。まだいっぱい飲みたかったのに、帰らせられました。Or, in much a simple way is 帰らされた。帰らされた。Okay? せら becomes さ。帰らされた。Another example. When I was a kid, I hated vegetables, but I was made to eat them. We don't know by whom, but the speaker is saying that someone made him eat vegetable. So we say, 子供の時、野菜が嫌いだったけど、食べ So instead of 食べない、we remove ない。食べ plus させられました in past form. 子供の時、野菜が嫌いだったけど、食べさせられました。Next example. If I go home now, I'll be made to do my homework. 今帰ったら if I go home now, すぐに and the verb is made to do. 宿題を so we just change する to させられる。宿題をさせられるんだよ。今書いたらすぐに宿題をさせられるんだよ。So here the speaker is giving reason by adding です or だ。
Okay, so our fifth grammar point is 何々である. So 何々である is just the same as 何々です or 何々だ. This is often used in formal writing such as novels, essays, business emails, and so on. So how do we use this pattern? Basically for na adjectives, we remove na and then we just add de aru. And same with noun. So we have the noun plus de aru. So we just replace des and da with de aru. And the meaning is the same. And for verbs, for example, verb teiru, we just add no and then de aru. So the verb teiru plus no de aru. For example, sensei is a noun. Sensei desu becomes sensei de aru, is a teacher. Or if it's in past form, sensei de atta was a teacher. Another example is using a na adjective, which is zannen. So, zannen de aru, meaning is regrettable. Or in past form, zannen de atta, was regrettable. And last example is with a verb. Negatteiru is hoping or is wishing. So we can say, negatteiru no de aru. So let's take a look at some example sentences.
For example, failure is the stepping stone to success. 失敗は failure is. So, stepping stone to success or literally mother of success, 成功の母だ. So we just change だ to である. 失敗は成功の母である. It is very disappointing to have caused such an incident. このような事件を起こしたことは非常に So our adjective is disappointing, which is 残念です. So we change it to 残念である. このような事件を起こしたことは非常に残念である. Next, this area was mountainous forest until last year. ここは去年まで. So here, until last year, 山でした. So it was a mountain, so, or mountainous. We say, 山であった, because it's in past form. でした becomes であった. ここは去年まで山であった. People all over the world are hoping for world peace. Now we have a verb. 世界中の人々が地球の平和を and the verb is to hope or wish, which is 願っている。So, 願っているのです becomes 願っているのである。Again, if it's a verb, we add no before である。世界中の人々が地球の平和を願っているのである。
Our next grammar point is using the suspended form instead of the te form. This is often used in formal speech, narration, or written publication. So how do we use this pattern? So instead of saying verb te, we say verb in mass form or the stem followed by the next verb also in a stem form. And if you want to use an adjective, an e-adjective, so instead of saying e-adjective kute, we remove the te part and we just say the e-adjective ku, next e-adjective ku, and so on. Another is for verbs te iru. So instead of saying verb te iru, we say verb te ori. And for na-adjectives and nouns, we just add de. For example, the verb araimasu. So if you want to say aratte, we just say arai, followed by another verb in stem form. Next example is verb in te imasu form. For example, sundeiru or sundeimasu. So we remove imasu and then replace it with ori, sundeori. And for e-adjective, for example, yasashikute, we remove te, so we just say yasashiku. So let's take a look at some examples.
Okay, so instead of using verb te, when we want to use the suspended form, we use the stem of the verb instead to mark the order of events. For example, after I get up in the morning, first I wash my face, then I drink water and look at Instagram. So we have verbs wash, drink, and look at Instagram. So we only have to change the two first verbs and the last verb stays the same. For example, asa okitara. So here we have the sequence of event. Mazu, kao aratte. So we have the te form. Mizu o nonde. So we change it to suspended form, which is mazu kao o arai. So again, just the stem of the verb, remove mas. Arai, mizu nomi, and then insta o mimasu. Look at Instagram. So the last verb determines the tense of the whole sentence. Next example. Before the trip, I must buy a new bag, confirm the hotel reservation, and make an itinerary. So we have buy, confirm, and make an itinerary. 旅行の前に So we have 新しいカバンを買ったり、ホテルの予約を確認したり。So here we are just listing the actions that we need to take, not in particular order. So we can use the suspended form. 新しいカバンを買い、ホテルの予約を確認し、and then the last verb is プランを作らなければなりません。And then we have いる which becomes おり in suspended form. For example, my older brother is in America and my older sister is in Singapore. So we are connecting two sentences. So here we have 兄はアメリカに行って So いる or います to be in. So 行って and then followed by another information. So this changed to 兄はアメリカにおり So 行って becomes おり for suspended form followed by the next information. 姉はシンガポールにいます or the humble of います is おります。 兄はアメリカにおり、姉はシンガポールにおります。or います。Next example, people from various countries live in Tokyo and there are many opportunities to listen to foreign languages. So, 東京に様々な国の人が So, live is 住んでいて So, in te form because it's followed by another information. 住んでいて or 住んでいます So, it becomes 住んでおり外国語を聞く機会が多い。東京には様々な国の人が住んでおり、外国語を聞く機会が多い。Now is you saying adjectives. So we learned about connecting adjectives from lesson 16, which is 何々くて、何々くて。So now let's use the suspended form. Maria is a kind, intelligent, and beautiful woman. So we have 3 adjectives, but we will only modify the first 2. Maria さんは So we usually say 優しくて、頭が良くて So it becomes 優しく、頭が良く、美人です or 美人である。マリアさんは優しく、頭が良く、美人です。
Okay, next is the grammar pattern 何々がる or 何々がっている。So, in lesson 13, we've learned about the verb たい form when we want to say that we want to do something. Okay, 何々たい。However, if we want to say that a third person or someone else wants to do something, we use 何々たがる。So, this basically means that someone, generally speaking, shows sign of wanting to do something or is an adjective. The reason behind is that we don't exactly know the mental state of that person. So instead of using tay, we just say that based from what we see or the expression of the person, he or she is showing sign of liking or wanting to do something. Or in case of adjective, being an adjective.
So how do we use this pattern? First, we get the stem of the verb, meaning remove the mas, and then we add tagaru or tagatteiru for present form, tagatta for past form, and tagaranai for negative form. For example, the verb ikimasu, to go. So, if you want to say that someone else, a third person, is showing sign of wanting to go, we get the stem of ikimasu, which is iki, and then we add tagaru, ikitagaru, or ikitagarimasu. Another example is tabemasu, wanting to eat. So we get the stem, tabe, plus tagaru. Tabe tagaru shows sign of wanting to eat. Next is using adjectives, so showing sign of being an adjective. So for e adjective, we remove e, and for na adjective, we don't put na. So we add garu, gatta, or garanai. For example, the e adjective hoshi, to want something. So we say hoshigaru, show sign of wanting to have something. Another e adjective is ureshi, be happy. So we say ureshigaru. So we remove i, ureshigaru, to show sign of being happy. For na adjective, we have puwan, puwan na. So we remove na, so it becomes puwan garu, to show sign of being uneasy or worried. Another na adjective is iyana. So we use iya plus garu, iyagaru, to show sign of dislike. So, to show sign of wanting to do something or being an adjective, which is generally speaking. So we use nani nani ta garu or garimasu. For example, Dad loves German beer culture and has been wanting to go to Munich. So generally, he's showing sign of wanting to go. So we say, お父さんはドイツのビール文化が大好きで、ミュンヘンへ。So we want to say, wanting to go. So we say, 行きます becomes, 行きたがる。お父さんはドイツのビール文化が大好きで、ミュンヘンへ行きたがる。I often get injured from doing club activities and it makes my mother worried. So generally shows sign of worrying. Okay? So we say, 私が部活で怪我することが多くて、お母さんは、so we have the adjective worried or 不安な。So it becomes 不安がります or 不安がる。Again, just remove な and then add がる。私が部活で怪我することが多くて、お母さんは不安があります。So this is equivalent to 不安そう to appear that someone is worried. Another example. Recently, young people who don't want to get married is increasing. So generally, young people show sign of not wanting to get married. So we have a negative. 最近 the verb is to get married and we want the negative form. So 結婚します becomes 結婚したがらない。So instead of たがる we say たがらない not want to. 最近結婚したがらない若者が So we are modifying a noun. So people who don't want to get married. が増えています is increasing. Again, 最近結婚したがらない若者が増えています。Okay, now we want to say that someone is showing sign of wanting to do something or being an adjective specifically at the present moment. So with this, we use 何々たがっている. So we use たがっている meaning present time. For example, Dad wants to go to Munich badly, showing sign of wanting to go at this moment. So we say, お父さんはミュンヘンへ So 行きます becomes 行きたがっている。お父さんはミュンヘンへ行きたがっている。Another example. Let's go. That crow got its eye on my bento for a while now. Or, that crow really looks like he wants my bento, basically. So we say, 行こうよ. Let's go. さっきからカラスは私のお弁当を So we use the e adjective 欲しい wanting. So we remove い欲しがっている。行こうよ。さっきからカラスは私のお弁当を欲しがっている。So has been wanting my bento or my food.
Okay, our last grammar point is 何々こと or 何々ということ. So this is used when we want to turn a whole sentence into a noun or to nominalize a sentence, which is then used as part of another sentence. So you've heard about nominalizing before, right? So if you remember from lesson 1, intermediate lesson 1, we learned about 何々ことは ga or o. So here we nominalize a verb by adding koto after the verb. For example, 若い時は留学することはいい経験になると思います。I think studying abroad is a good experience when you are young. Also, we've learned the verb in plain form followed by no from lesson 38. This is the first time we've discussed about nominalizing a verb, meaning turning a verb into a noun. For example, バレーボールを見るのは watching volleyball 面白いです is interesting. So we change watching or to watch into a noun. Watching volleyball is interesting.
How to use this pattern? First, we have the sentence in plain form, followed by という or こと. So if it's complicated, we add という before こと. If it's just a normal sentence, we just add こと followed by the particle. For example, if we have this sentence, 明日のテストが今日になりました. Tomorrow's tests have been moved today. So this is just a normal sentence. Now, if you want to use this sentence as a noun, so we nominalize the sentence. So we change it to plain form. 明日のテストが今日になったこと. Okay, so we change it to plain form, followed by こと. And then we can use this as a part of another sentence. So this means that tomorrow's tests have been moved today. Another example. This is a normal sentence. The Santa who used to visit me every Christmas was actually my grandpa. 毎年クリスマスに来るサンタさんは実はおじいちゃんでした。So if we want to change it into a noun, we say 毎年クリスマスに来るサンタさんは実はおじいちゃんだった。So from でした we change it to だった followed by ということ. So since this is a bit complicated, we added という before こと. So this means 何々 that the Santa who used to visit me every Christmas was actually my grandpa. And we can also use this with a na adjective. So for na adjective, we follow it with なこと or であること and then the particle. For example, 小学校の頃の友達が今 YouTube で有名です。So this means my friend from elementary school is now famous on YouTube. So this is the normal sentence. Now, if we want to nominalize this, so we have a noun at the end. So it becomes 有名なこと. So, 小学校の頃の友達が今 YouTube で有名なこと. So this means 何々 that my friend from elementary school is now famous on YouTube. So we attach this to another sentence. Like I said, when a particle or the other part of speech is added to a sentence, or we make this sentence into a noun, we add koto and then the particle. For example, hey, did you know that? Okay. And then the main sentence, tomorrow's tests have been moved today? ねえ. So here, 明日のテストが今日になりました becomes 明日のテストが今日になったことを. So now we are using this as a noun for did you know that? So did you know that is 知っている? So we are using the plain speech. ねえ、明日のテストが今日になったことを知ってる? Another example. I found out that my friend from elementary school is now famous on YouTube. So, 小学校の頃の友達が今 YouTube で有名です becomes 小学校の頃の友達が今 YouTube で有名なことが So, I found out that So, is わかりました。小学校の頃の友達が今 YouTube で有名なことがわかりました。Next, if the sentence is particularly long or complicated, we say 何々ということ。Okay, instead of just こと。For example, I had no idea that the Santa who used to visit me every Christmas was actually my grandpa. 毎年クリスマスに来るサンタさんは実はおじいちゃんでした becomes おじいちゃんだったということを So I had no idea is 全然 知りませんでした。毎年クリスマスに来るサンタさんは、実はおじいちゃんだったということを全然知りませんでした。Another example, it was after my bike got stolen that I realized it is important to lock it properly. 自転車が取られてから、after my bike got stolen, ちゃんと鍵をするのは大切でした。It was important to lock it properly. ちゃんと鍵をするのは locking the key is important. 大切だということがわかりました。自転車が取られてからちゃんと鍵をするのは大切だということがわかりました。Now it's time for our bonus grammar point. First is the 何々の何々, meaning apposition, which is used to show that two words are identical or have the same referent. So how do we use this? We have noun 1 の noun 2 or noun 1である noun 2. For example, my friend Nuria, 友達の Nuria. So 友達 and Nuria are referring to the same thing. Another example, the day after tomorrow is Saturday. So あさっての土曜日. Okay? So two nouns are referring to one thing. For example, I'll introduce you to my friend Nuria. 友達の Nuria を紹介するよ。Another example, are you free the day after tomorrow, Saturday? あさっての土曜日は暇ですか? And another bonus point is 何々ましたら for the polite form of 何々たら and 何々まして for the polite form of て form. So first is the 何々ましたら. So we just get the verb in polite past form and then we add ら. For example, 戻ったら when or if comes back. So here we use the polite past. So instead of the plain form, we change it to 戻りました and then we add ら. 戻りましたら if comes back. And for the て form, we use まして. So here we get the stem of the verb plus まして. For example, 帰国することになって. So here the verb is なって or to become. So we get the original verb which is なります. So 帰国することになります becomes なり because we remove ます and we replace that with まして. 帰国することになりまして ... meaning I need to go back home and it is followed by another information. For example, when the director comes back, so here we have 何々たら Shall I give you a call? 部長は戻りましたらこちらからお電話差し上げましょうか? So if you notice, the speaker is talking in a very polite way. I was supposed to meet the director, but due to family matter, I suddenly need to go back home. So, okay, ... I'm sorry, but could you please tell him that? Okay, it's quite long. 部長にお会いすることになっていましたが、I was supposed to see the director. 家庭の事情で急に but due to family matter, 帰国することになりまして、I suddenly need to go back home. So, 申し訳ありませんが、I'm sorry, but そのようにお伝えいただけますか? But could you please tell him that? So again, you have the te form here because it is followed by another information. So it's just linking sentences, but we are using the polite way of te form.
はい、お疲れ様でした。今日のレッスンはどうでしたか？もしコメントとか質問があれば、ぜひ下に書いてくださいね。 I hope you learned something today. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the future lessons. I will see you in the next one. Mata ne!